Hello everyone and welcome to today's lecture on the review of anatomy and physiology of the nervous system. This topic lays the foundation for understanding neurologic disorders and their nursing care. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to differentiate the central and peripheral nervous systems, identify the brain lobe functions, describe neurons and glial cells, understand protective mechanisms of the brain, and explain the clinical significance of dermatomes. The nervous system is categorized into the central nervous system or CNS, and the peripheral nervous system or PNS. The CNS includes the brain and spinal cord. It's like the command center that receives information and initiates action. The PNS includes all the nerves that branch out from the CNS to the rest of the body. These nerves serve as messengers, transmitting information between the body and the CNS. The PNS enables us to react to our environment, whether it's sensing heat, moving muscles, or adjusting blood pressure. To summarize, the CNS interprets and decides, the PNS delivers the messages to and from the periphery. Together, they coordinate every thought, sensation, and movement we experience. The PNS has two main branches. The somatic nervous system controls voluntary muscle movements, like raising your hand. The autonomic nervous system manages involuntary actions like heart rate and digestion. It includes the sympathetic system for fight or flight, and the parasympathetic system for rest and digest. The brain is divided into 4 lobes, each with specific functions. The frontal lobe controls motor skills and decision-making. The parietal lobe processes sensory information. The temporal lobe handles hearing and memory. And the occipital lobe is responsible for vision. Within these lobes are specialized areas. Broca's area in the frontal lobe helps produce speech. Wernicke's area in the temporal lobe is for understanding language. The motor cortex controls movements, and the sensory cortex interprets touch. Damage to any of these affects function. Neurons are the basic units of the nervous system. They transmit messages through electrical impulses. There are sensory neurons, motor neurons, and interneurons. Neuroglial cells don't transmit impulses, but they support and protect neurons. Think of them as the nurses of the nervous system. A typical neuron has dendrites to receive signals, a cell body, and an axon that sends signals away. The myelin sheath speeds up transmission. At the synapse, neurotransmitters jump the gap between neurons. This is how signals travel fast and efficiently. The brain is protected by 3 layers of meninges: dura mater, arachnoid mater, and pia mater. Cerebrospinal fluid cushions and nourishes the brain. The blood-brain barrier blocks harmful substances while letting nutrients through. These structures are vital to brain safety. Cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, plays a crucial role in protecting the brain and spinal cord. It's produced by the choroid plexus within the ventricles of the brain and flows through a series of interconnected chambers, from the lateral ventricles to the third and then to the fourth ventricle. From there, it circulates around the brain and spinal cord in the subarachnoid space. CSF helps cushion the brain, maintain intracranial pressure, and remove waste products. It is eventually reabsorbed into the bloodstream through the arachnoid villi. When this circulation is blocked or impaired, it can lead to serious conditions like hydrocephalus or increased intracranial pressure. Understanding this pathway is key in assessing patients with neurologic symptoms and guiding appropriate interventions. Dermatomes are areas of skin linked to specific spinal nerves. If a patient has numbness in a certain region, we can trace it to a particular spinal level. This is very helpful in diagnosing spinal cord injuries or herniated discs. Let's recap. The CNS and PNS coordinate the body's responses. Brain lobes have distinct roles. Neurons send signals, glial cells support. The brain is well protected by CSF, meninges, and the BBB. Dermatomes are essential tools in neuro assessment. Now that we've reviewed the anatomy and physiology of the nervous system, it's time to apply what we've learned. These practice questions are designed in the NCLEX style, so they will not only help reinforce the concepts but also prepare you for the type of questions you may encounter in your licensure exams. Question number 1. A nurse is assessing a client with a spinal cord injury at the T10 level. Which area of the body is the nurse most likely to find altered sensation? A. Neck. B. Nipples. C. Umbilicus. D. Groin. The correct answer, letter C, umbilicus. The T10 dermatome corresponds to the level of the umbilicus. Identifying the affected dermatome helps in localizing spinal cord injuries and planning appropriate interventions. Next, question number 2. The nurse is educating a client about the functions of the frontal lobe. Which of the following would be included in the teaching? A. Balance and coordination. B. Language comprehension. C. Vision and visual processing. D. Voluntary motor activity and decision making. Correct answer. D. Voluntary motor activity and decision making. The frontal lobe is primarily responsible for initiating voluntary movements, personality, planning, and speech production. Broca's area, located in this lobe, is crucial for speech. Next, which of the following best describes the function of the blood-brain barrier, or BBB? A. It produces cerebrospinal fluid. B. It transmits impulses from the brain to the body. C. It protects the brain from harmful substances in the bloodstream. D. It allows free passage of all medications to the brain. The correct answer is C. It protects the brain from harmful substances in the bloodstream. The blood-brain barrier is a selective filter that blocks toxins and pathogens while allowing essential substances like oxygen and glucose into the brain. This is crucial in maintaining neurologic integrity. Next question. A nurse explains the function of neuroglial cells to a student nurse. Which statement made by the student indicates a correct understanding? A. They transmit electrical impulses. B. They produce neurotransmitters. C. They support and protect neurons. D. They are only found in the peripheral nervous system. Correct answer is C. They support and protect neurons. Neuroglial cells do not conduct impulses but are essential for neuron survival. They form the myelin sheath, remove waste, and maintain homeostasis in the nervous system. Last question. During a neurologic assessment, the nurse tests the reflex arc. Which structure is directly involved in this action? A. Cerebrum. B. Spinal cord. C. Brainstem. D. Cerebellum. The correct answer is letter B. Spinal cord. The reflex arc is mediated through the spinal cord, allowing for a quick, automatic response to stimuli. It does not require input from the brain, making it a fast protective mechanism. That concludes our discussion on the anatomy and physiology of the nervous system. I hope this lecture has helped you understand the key structures, their functions, and how they relate to clinical assessment and nursing care. Remember, a strong foundation in neuroanatomy is essential for accurate assessment and effective intervention, especially when caring for clients with neurologic disorders. Thank you for your attention and participation. Please take time to review today's content and complete the follow-up practice quiz. Stay curious, stay committed, and keep nurturing your nursing knowledge. See you in the next